Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the American Canadian School of Medicine webinar that we are hosting today. I will just let some folks start trickling into the webinar as we just started, but I'm very, very happy to be with you all this evening as we chat a little bit more in depth on how ACSOM prepares our students for the USMLE Step 1. My name is Christine. I am joining you tonight from a little town outside of Toronto called Peterborough in Canada. And I'm very, very thrilled to be here with you all and with my distinguished guests to kind of chat more about ACSOM and the USMLE Step 1 preparation process. So as folks start joining in, please feel free to put in the chat your name, where you're at in the medical school application process, where you're joining us from, whether it be Canada, the States, internationally. We love to know a little bit more about our guests. Also, a few housekeeping items. If you do have any questions throughout the course of the webinar, we will answer them both in the chat for folks, as well as pose them live for the Q&A at the end of the session that we're hosting. So if you have any burning questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them both for you, so you have that kind of instant gratification, and then also for the Q&A for the folks that might be watching a recorded version, so they still get all their questions answered. Sometimes folks don't know they've got a question until they hear someone else ask it. So this is wonderful. We've got folks joining from California, from Illinois, so that is awesome. We've had some friends be made in the chat before too, so feel free to introduce yourselves, and if any name sounds familiar, you can say, oh, hey, I know you. Arkansas as well, that's wonderful. So tonight you will hear from myself. My name's Christine, as I mentioned, and I'm the Canadian admissions representative. So I help folks kind of more in the Canadian market, but I can definitely speak to and chat with folks from all over the world about ACSOM and the curriculum and next steps. So if you do have any questions about that, you can always feel free to reach out. We have Dr. Ahmadi, who is the Dean of the American Canadian School of Medicine, and he'll be chatting more about curriculum, our USMLE prep, and he'll be chatting with Lenore, who is a current ACSOM student who recently passed her USMLE Step 1. So we're very thrilled to hear from her about her tips and tricks and kind of get an insight from someone who probably is the most recent person to complete the USMLE Step 1. So we've got a great webinar for you tonight, and feel free to, as I mentioned, put those questions in the chat, and I hope you learn something or your interest is sparked and you're inspired kind of from Dr. Ahmadi and Lenore. So today we're going to do a bit of a welcome and introduction. We're going to go over a little high-level overview and introduction to ACSOM, why our students choose ACSOM, where we're located, why ACSOM can be the right fit for you, and then we're going to hear directly from Dr. Ahmadi and Lenore about the USMLE, our curriculum, dedicated student support systems, and then we will have a Q&A. So the American Canadian School of Medicine is located in Dominica, which is a beautiful island in the Caribbean. The first language of Dominica is actually English, so our students can really integrate into the culture there. The population is about 70,000, so if you're joining from Canada, think Thunder Bay, a smaller community, which is, again, a really great way to be part of that close-knit community. And its average daily temperatures range from about 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 degrees Celsius to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 degrees Celsius. So it's kind of like summer all the time, which is amazing. And traditionally there's a dry season between February and June, with the wettest months being August to October. So you will really get to experience kind of the full array of the beautiful climate and temperature. And Dominica is known as the nature island. There's a huge kind of emphasis on the island put on ecology and preserving the natural resources. So there are beautiful hikes and waterfalls. Our faculty went whale watching. So there's a lot of great opportunities to get that natural beauty while you are studying your medical curriculum. And Dominica is the perfect place to study medicine because it offers a really peaceful setting for students. So you're not as distracted from the big city life, or you can really hone in on your medical education. And it is the most affordable island in the Caribbean as well. So you can really, that you are in the best place for you. You don't have to worry about kind of those external finances. you can really understand that we are doing the most for you at ACSOM, and you are in an affordable cost of living environment. There are small class sizes, which we will get into. We have experienced faculty and a really close-knit community, both the ACSOM community and then the greater Dominican community. So you are supported by your peers as well as by your leadership in ACSOM and then the community that you're a part of. So ACSOM provides an ideal environment for focused learning and personal growth in a beautiful location. And as I mentioned, I'm from Canada. We've got some folks on the call who are joining from Canada. So the idea of being that close to a beach, beautiful temperatures all around, avoiding the snow that comes in winter, even, folks from Illinois, you know what I'm talking about. So this is a beautiful place to study and to start your medical education. So who are we? Some of you might be in different kind of areas in your medical journey where you're at different times where you might be just learning about ACSOM, or you've done a lot of research and you're just trying to learn a little bit deeper before you make that commitment. So no matter where you are in the journey, ACSOM is a really wonderful place for you to do your medical education. We are the only nonprofit Caribbean medical school, so we are not interested in turning a profit from our students. We are really focused on providing you with the best education possible. We know that, in the US and Canada it can be tricky to get into medical school. So we provide an exceptional alternative to the North American medical schools. And we do so in the most accessible way to our students, making sure that our tuition is affordable to students. We are founded by physicians for future physicians. So you have folks with hands-on experience in the field. You're not always taught by just PhDs in the topics that you're learning from. You're taught by folks that understand how the drugs and the systems work together in the healthcare system. You're not just learning from, a PhD in microbiology, but you're from someone who has practiced what you will be practicing. We are internationally accredited, so we are setting the standard for medical education. And this is very important when you are looking at a medical school. You want an accredited medical school because this is how you are making sure that the quality of your education is set and maintained throughout the entire time you're studying. Our accreditation, as well as our listing in the World Directory of Medical Schools, is what allows you to be prepared for your residencies in the US and Canada. We also have, as I mentioned, a supportive, tight-knit community that's committed to student success. And that starts from now, meeting with your admissions advisors, chatting with current students, hearing from Dr. Ahmadi, and then it goes all the way through until after you complete your studies. We have, mentors on campus that you can learn from. We have a wonderful student support team that will help you with accommodations, booking your flights, your visas. Sometimes there are folks help with laundry issues that you're having in your apartments. Like from beginning to end, you will be supported by the folks at ACSOM. Some of you might have heard of kind of the story of our founder, but our founder is Dr. Arvind Bhagapur, and he is a board-certified diagnostic radiologist. He has a specialty in interventional radiology. He obtained his BA from the University of Texas, Austin, with special honors, and earned his medical degree from Ross University. His postgraduate work includes residencies at Beth Israel in New York, Albany Medical Center, University of Texas at Austin, and a fellowship in interventional radiology at the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic. He was also chosen as a fellow in the prestigious Moorfield Fellowship in Economics and Health Policy program, where he learned more about pressing medical policy issues. And his kind of ethos when he founded ACSOM was to drive a social mission for future physicians, to make sure that medical education was accessible for all students, and to make sure that you were getting a quality education no matter where you went. So if you weren't able to attend medical school in North America, that you were still getting a quality education, that wasn't something that you wouldn't receive just because you're no longer studying in North America. So that was his ethos behind starting ACSOM. And we have he loves to chat with students. And if he was here right now, he would say, call me Dr. B. He'd give you his phone number and his contact information, and he'd want for you to chat with him. But all of our students in the application funnel, once you receive your acceptance, you will get the chance to meet Dr. Bagapur, and he's a really wonderful and interesting man, and he cares a lot about our students. So here's a few reasons why our students choose ACSOM. We have a student-centered education, so each class is capped at about 10 students per small group learning, and that's given to one teaching faculty member. So the student to faculty ratio is 10 to 1, which means that you are getting individual attention from your teaching faculty member. You are taught by a physician who goes through a rigorous teaching workshop. I believe it's about 6 months, where they learn how to take their skills as physicians and become excellent quality instructors for you in that small group learning. And I'm not the expert in the curriculum, Dr. Ahmadi is, so you'll learn more from him. But we also have a clinically integrated curriculum, which means that as I mentioned, you're learning from folks that have done the clinical, and it's done early in your education. So we have a hospital in Dominica where you have the opportunity to kind of learn firsthand from folks that are practicing in that clinical setting. We're accredited and recognized, again, allowing for you to do your residencies both in the US or Canada. We have a supportive community with a cost-effective medical education. We really prioritize strong residency preparation, which you will learn from Dr. Ahmadi as well as Lenore, and we have a beautiful and focused learning environment. So from here, I'll hand it over to Dr. Ahmadi, who will go further in depth into why I think a lot of you folks are here, which is to understand the USMLE Step 1, and then learn some, why it's important, and then we will hear from Lenore. So I'll hand it over to Dr. Ahmadi.
Hi, good evening, everyone. What I think I would do, rather than talking about our curriculum, I'm going to interview our student who has left the island, and I haven't actually seen her for a while now. She left the island, took her USMLE Step 1, passed it, and is waiting in California to start her clerkship very soon. So I am going to talk to her and ask some questions. And please, if you have questions about this, bring them up. Christine, if you see questions from the audience, just tell us, interrupt us. That's okay. And we want to make this a very interactive session. So, Lenora, you started with us and essentially dived into this curriculum 2 years ago. And I remember very well because you came later than everybody else, and we pretty much rushed you from the airport into the white coat ceremony. So I remember that very well. I will never forget that. So, and there you were in the white coat ceremony, and 2 days later, you had started this journey. We call it ACSOM curriculum. So tell us what was it like? Like how? First of all, we are going to get to how really it prepared you for USMLE Step 1 and in what ways it prepared you and what did you do in addition. But let's start by saying what happened. So how does it work, and what did you do from that day one?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And you said I started 2 days later. I started the very next day.
Oh, okay, sorry.
They really did rush me straight from the plane into the white coat ceremony and into class the next morning. So the way our classes work, as Christine, I think she did a really great job of explaining everything. We have a 10 to 1 student to faculty ratio. So being the first class ever, the inaugural class, we had a lot more faculty than students starting off. So we were 8 people with maybe like 2 or 3 faculty teaching us, and these are very, very good faculty. Like my first year, we had a cardiologist, a neurosurgeon. We had excellent neurologists, excellent professors who genuinely care about us. And basically, the way our days would work is that in the mornings, we would have about a 1-hour lecture from a visiting faculty. And then we would have a 3-hour small group session, is what we referred to it as. And we would have pre-work the night before. So we would have the materials ready for class the next day, the night before, to prepare. And then in class, with our small groups, we would discuss cases, we would go over different diseases, different pathways, and we would really just learn what we were meant to be learning in a clinical setting, but still as a discussion. So we had expert faculty at our fingertips, not just talking at us, but asking us questions, making sure we understood everything, having us repeat stuff. And at the same time, we also have our peers right next to us in like a conversational setting. So if they had questions or we had questions, maybe someone missed something or someone really knew about something from before, we were able to bounce off each other and learn from each other. And then in the afternoons, we either had our Intro to Clinical Medicine course, where we learned a lot of different techniques about how to speak to patients, how to interact when we're in the clinical setting. We had a lot of standardized patients, or we had anatomy, which everybody knows what anatomy is, but anatomy with Dr. Abiola is something else and so special. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So, so you did that for 2 years, and you did these modules that um, are system based. They're not discipline based. So, for those who are listening to us, because there is a lot of schools out there in the Caribbean where the curriculum is very traditional. It's lecture based, and it's discipline based, meaning that somebody shows up in the morning when you're sitting in an auditorium with 600 other students, and they run through their PowerPoint slides with you on anatomy. And then somebody else comes an hour later and does physiology, and somebody else comes an hour later and does pathology. And sort of you have certain number of courses each semester, as if you were still in undergraduate having a course in biochemistry or pharmacology or anatomy or physiology. Well, we don't run like that. First of all, as Lenora mentioned, and I want to emphasize, this curriculum is not lecture based. We do have this travel faculty that comes from Yale, from Penn State, from various medical schools that we work with, that they come to sometimes just present their research, sometimes they present their ideas, sometimes they articulate with the curriculum of the day or the week. When I am that guest lecturer, I try to really connect to the daily and weekly work of the students, just because I know the students like to see that, and
You cut out maybe? Well, I'll jump in where he left off until he comes back in. So he's right. Our lectures are mostly related to what we're learning that day, which is really nice. Sometimes they are more just for like enrichment, which is kind of like we'll treat it like an elective. And it's just like interesting to learn about. But most of the time, our visiting faculty are kind of prepped on what we're learning. So they come in, we have like a cardiologist from Stony Brook, Dr. Sadiq, who's like excellent, who's like very well known. He's an excellent professor, and he'll come and teach us for a whole week and spend time in class with us. Or we'll have Dr. Holinsky, who is an excellent endocrinologist, one of the nicest people ever, and he'll come for a week and just teach us and make sure we understand everything, sit in class. And to go back on the way that Dr. Ahmadi was explaining the modules, for example, our first module is called
sorry about that.
Foundations in Medicine. Oh, you're back. I jumped in. Please go ahead.
No, thank you. I don't know why I got disconnected. Please continue.
So our first module is called Foundations in Medicine, where we cover a lot of the things that we learned in undergrad, but just a bit more. So we have a lot of biochemistry, genetics, just like foundational things, physiology. You're kind of getting your feet wet to make sure you're able to understand everything that comes next. So this is a good place to, so also something else that we do when we learn, for example, Leschnayan syndrome. We don't just learn in the morning, as Dr. Ahmadi mentioned, like anatomy and then physiology and then pharmacology in different areas and different courses. We learn Leschnayan syndrome as a whole. It is a problem with the purine salvage pathway. This is the medication. These are the symptoms. These are the reasons the symptoms happen. It's really just everything. You learn it all in one place. It's not broken up into a bunch of different areas, so it's much easier to connect in your head as well. And we also go pretty closely with the Step 1 USMLE First Aid book, which is not to jump ahead, but for those of you who will be studying for Step 1, this should really be like your child. You should know this book inside and out. Memorize it, start now. Even if you don't know what's going on, you'll get what's going on later. But it's something that we go off pretty closely, and it's a very good system that we're learning on.
Great. And so this so let me get back and ask you another question, since we are now diving into the USMLE preparation. So what are those daily, if you will, resources that you have and you use frequently in our curriculum and on our Canvas, that you thought were most helpful with your USMLE preparation and ultimately the exam?
So the resources we had, I'll list them first and then I'll say which ones I preferred, because everyone is different and you may prefer one over another. We were given the PDF of the Step 1 First Aid book, which everyone should use no matter what you prefer. AMBOSS, Lecturio, Osmosis, Clinical Key, and TrueLearn. I hope I'm not missing any. But my favorites that I really learned well on were the Step 1 book and AMBOSS. I don't do well, except for when we learned microbiology, I really didn't do well with Osmosis because those are more videos. It was helpful for microbiology for me, but I know others who use it for everything. I felt that AMBOSS was very to the point, exactly what you needed. It had some extra information if you wanted to supplement a little bit more, but nothing that would confuse you. It was very well organized. So it really depends on your preference, but these are the ones we were given.
So let me stop here. Christine, is there any questions from audience before I go on? Do you want to ask some questions?
Yeah, just one. If you can still contact the traveling professors after they leave. Sorry, if you can still contact the traveling professors after they leave the island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lenora?
I've contacted several of them. They always give us their emails. Sometimes they give us their phone numbers. They're always so happy to help. They always want to know how we're doing. They come back a lot of the time and they're like, wow, like from last semester until now, you've done so much. Like, they all care about us. Even them who like maybe will never see us again, still put in their 100% effort and are always happy to hear from us later.
And I just want to add that these people were not randomly selected. They are people that have been collaborating with us in developing the school, the curriculum, the program over a course of some of them over a course of a decade. Some of them have very deep understanding of what high quality medical education should be. They're chairs and program directors at their institution in US. And some of them are very prestigious in their field of practice. And that's why they actually are invited. They are not an, if I want to say this really for those of you who still are not very familiar with our curriculum, they are not a mandatory or essential part of our curriculum. As Lenora explained so beautifully, you can sit those 3 hours every day with your full-time physician faculty in a room and go through this for 2 years of preparing for, learning the material and preparing for the exam. But what happens is, as a result of this sort of extra little piece of sort of very famous and well-known faculty traveling, coming there, interacting with not only with you, but also with the faculty that are on the island. It allows sometimes fresh perspective. I know that, for example, a group of nephrologists, travel faculty, told us a lot about how we should maybe modify our nephrology module. We have, for example, a travel faculty that does the cardiology module for NYU, for example, or um, um, actually, and New York SUNY. I misspoke, and he comes to do exactly what he does in New York, in Dominica, but also makes us aware of a lot of gaps that may be there, or maybe some overlaps that may be there that we don't need. So we really use the expertise and excellence of that travel faculty to really add another layer to what is the mandatory curriculum. The mandatory part of the curriculum has nothing to do with the travel people. It's all on the island and it's done every day. I just wanted to say that because I have seen on some of the chat rooms and all that they um, and this might be coming from our competition, trying to discredit the program, saying that their faculty is not on the island. They're flying them in and out, and it sort of creates an image that you are on your own on the island, and there are these people who fly in and out. And the people who fly in and out, I could stop that entire program tomorrow, and your curriculum will still go on, as you know. So this is really important, I think, to emphasize here, that we prepare you for that exam and we give you your basic sciences in 2 years with a group of excellent physician faculty who is on the island and are with you every day of the week. I think that's really um, the message I wanted to make sure that I send during this podcast.
If I
Now,
can also jump in on this part,
sure,
they
of
care
course.
about us like their own children. A lot of them are very young, but like truly, the number of times that I've had a certain faculty member stay late and help me with something, or go the extra mile just to explain it, or I was sick one day and stayed for another like hour just to explain something to me, make sure I got it. They also care about us outside of like the academics. Like they care about us personally. They want to make sure we're okay. They check in on us. It's not just like, this is your teacher, learn this. Like truly they care about us, and they truly want us to do well. It's not like someone is working against you. Like truly they go out of their way to make sure we're doing well.
So now let me ask you the sort of the tougher questions here. Um, what did you do in addition to our curriculum that helped you with the USMLE? Because I know there is no medical school, let's be realistic, that gives you everything that you need on their website and it's impossible. In today's world, we know that's not possible. And anybody who claims it on all these different places, they are lying. There is the World Wide Web, full of resources, full of the USMLE prep courses of all kinds, of all companies, from Kaplan to I don't know, med school bros to prep to boot camp to, and some of these we provided for you guys as an addition. But I also just want to hear from you. I'm genuinely curious, actually, to hear from you, because I haven't had a chance actually to talk to you about it in detail. These additional resources, which one were most helpful? Um, what did we give you? I think we gave you boot camp,
Yeah.
and then what? So what was really helpful? What was not helpful? What did you do? What worked for you?
So let me start from the beginning. When we got boot camp, I really tried to use it. I really tried to go through it, but I think for like last few months studying, it wasn't efficient. I think maybe if we had it from the very beginning, even if we had just bought it ourselves, it could have supplemented our pre-work a little bit more. So I personally wouldn't recommend boot camp for like last few months studying. What I did that worked the best for me, I actually was given advice. I had a plan in my head, but I was given advice to do something different. I was told that I should maybe spend like a morning, just pick a subject. This is what that did not work for me. I was told to pick a subject like GI and then just do 40 step one questions from UWorld and then spend the rest of the morning reviewing them very in depth and then do this again in the afternoon. And that is my entire day. And then the next day, I would do another 80 questions throughout the day for maybe cardio. And I was doing this for about 5 weeks and my score started to come down. I took a practice NBME exam before I started studying at all, based completely on my residual knowledge, and I was fairly close to a passing score. After doing that for 5 weeks, my score came down by more than 10%. So I knew I had to change something. What I did was you mentioned Med School Bro. I actually used Med School Bro, and it was very helpful for me. So I dedicated 2 days per topic, meaning like system. I did, for example, I started with, let's say, nephrology. I said, today I'm taking 2 days for nephrology. I sat down and I read through the step book. I sat in public and I read through the step book out loud. I said it as if I was talking to someone. I was explaining it. I made sure I understood every single thing it said in the step book. And if I maybe didn't get the exact thing, I wasn't completely certain on it, I either put it into ChatGPT or a picture in a ChatGPT and I said, please explain everything I need to know for the USMLE Step 1 exam. And it would give me a really good breakdown of everything I needed to know so that I could look at the step book and I could see what I needed to know, what I was missing, explain the certain parts that weren't working for me. And then I would go through the Med School Bro guide of the same exact topic and I would read that out loud. And then again, if I didn't understand something, it was like a second pass through the step book, but a much briefer version. So I was able to see where my gaps were and make sure I solidified those. And at the end of that, I would do a minimum of 80 UWorld questions timed, meaning 240 question blocks, which were an hour each, minimum. I would try to do more, but that was the minimum. And I would see where I was at with the questions, and then I would review those questions. And then after those 2 days, like the next day, I was done with nephrology, cardiology, pulmonology. And, neurology was a little bit longer, so I gave neurology 3 days. Psychiatry was a little bit shorter, so psychiatry only needed 1 day. It really depended on that topic, but no more than 3 days. Usually it was 2 days. I would go through each one and then I was done with it. And then if I had, like, for example, they said psychiatry was a little bit shorter, it was 1 day. So I would take a few hours extra in the morning of the next topic and I would make another UWorld bank of like the topics I had already completed and I would review those. And in my head, everything was able to be organized in a very systematic manner. So whenever I saw the questions, I knew what it was asking. I had the practice from UWorld. And I also had the information that I saw from the step book and the Med School Bro guide. So I was able to just bring it up at a moment's notice. And so just to sum it up, the step book, meaning first aid, Med School Bro guides, and UWorld were the main things I used. Other than that, maybe if I had in my notes that there was a really good explanation on AMBOSS, I would refer back to that only if I had written that down. But those were the main 3 things I used. You guys should definitely get UWorld.
And because we listen to our students, I want you to know, because you were not the only one who was giving us positive feedback on Med School Pros, we have now uh, entered sort of an agreement with them where they would come for the 4 weeks of the board prep course that you have on the island. They are the one who will do it. I know you didn't know this, it just has happened this week. they would be part of the board prep course that we give on the island now. So that should intensify a little bit your time on the island. But then when you go off the island like you did, maybe it would be an easier review at that point by yourself for those days that are leading to the exam time.
That sounds
So,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. So
Lucky
that
you guys.
yeah, so our next cohort in October is getting med school, bro, on the island and not just afterward. So we'll see how. So that's, guys, that's it. I mean, we have fun. We have 2 years of learning basic sciences in the setting of a problem solving, essentially, format, small group discussions, flip classroom. And then there are full-time physician faculty in the room with every single small group. Um, and we prepared these students for 2 years, and they go the last sort of few weeks of their before the exam, they go back home to study on their own, and they take the exam and they come back for clinicals like Lenora has done. So that's it. That's our story.
I want to add one more thing. When, so in December, meaning right before my fourth semester, people would ask me, do you feel ready for step one? And honestly, I would say yes, absolutely. I know I just have a few things I need to review, but truly, I do feel ready. We've learned everything, we've gone over the questions, all of our final exams have been NBME, and really, like, we have it all there. It's just a matter of gaining the confidence when you're studying. This was advice that Dr. Ahmadi actually gave me. Is I was I was very flustered in my studying. He said, you just need to get the confidence. You know it already. And he was absolutely right. Um, just making sure you know what you know is a big deal. Going into that exam, I cried on the way there. But once I got there, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. I know everything. It's okay. I was like, and then I passed.
Excellent.
But it's
Yes.
very much part of it is you have to tell yourself, I know everything.
On that note, Dr. Ahmadi, would you mind speaking just a little bit more about how ACSOM prepares the students? We talked about how Lenore prepared herself, but how we prepare students outside of the integrated curriculum, maybe more about the support systems, about peer mentorship, faculty mentorship, the importance of time management, like mental health, and things along those
Yes, and we have, we do have the student services and support services on the campus. We have a student learning center for those who are going to need a little bit of a more of one-on-one and hand holding and so forth. But at the end of the day, honestly, um, these students are graduate students. They're not undergraduate students, and that's how I see them, and that's what I tell them frequently. To those of them who sometimes come to my office and cry on my shoulder and they say there's a lot of pressure, what am I going to do? I have to remind them, you're not a college kid anymore. You have graduated from college. This is a professional school, and you're getting ready to become a physician and have life of another human being in your hands. Okay, so you need to live up to that expectation. You need to behave as such. So you have to show the confidence, because if you don't show the confidence, then the patients and patient's family and people around you are going to all fall apart. Can you imagine if as a doctor you walk into the room and say, well, I'm not sure, and it's not going to work out very well. So they need to know that we are expecting them as graduate students. And as graduate students of this generation, this is a generation that, unlike mine, didn't want to sit in a big auditorium, listen for several hours to somebody flipping PowerPoints. That was the that was the old days. That was my days where we sat in the auditorium and half of us were sleeping and half of us didn't even show up to the auditorium. So uh, this generation, if once you start talking, even right now, I'm very conscientious. People who are listening to me, I think within 3 or 4 minutes, they're going to go to their cell phone. They're going to be looking at something else. There's just, this is not a generation that wants to be lectured. This is they want to have the tools, and then they want to go and do it themselves. That's how they are essentially. and and that's what we do. We try to prepare them by giving them the tools. They do have the support system if they absolutely are desperate and need it, in terms of one-on-one and student support services and student learning center. But overall, majority of them, I think, realize after the first few weeks they're in a graduate school, they're on their own, and they have to, live up to that expectation. They have to go to the canvas that we it took us 10 years to develop for them, and it's organized so that every day of their life for the first 2 years on campus is already organized, so they know what they have to do Saturday night, what they have to do Sunday night, what they have to do Monday night. I mean, it's all already figured out. So they just go and go to the links, go to the sources, and deal with the sources the way that this generation does. Like Lenora just told you, I didn't know this about her. She said she didn't use the osmosis at all. You know, that's she might have a colleague that will tell us, if he was here or she was here, that they would use osmosis every day, all day. But that's the whole point, that we have a curriculum that was designed for different learners with different needs, and all of their needs, we try to meet all of their needs with this canvas, so that if they like to do ambas, they can. If they want to just read the text, they can. If they want to watch the videos, they can. They have a set of homework, a set of problems, and the next day they have to sit down in a room and get fresh problems from their faculty, and they need to discuss them and solve them. And this is actively engaging them, 3 hours every day, in and out, in every day from 9 to 12. This creates a discipline of problem solving, of teamwork, of coordinating your time and your day and your work. All of that, I think, helps to develop them to see these wonderfully mature young doctors that is on the screen right now for you as Lenora. This was this is part of their growth curve in the first 2 years. And yes, we do have those support services for those who might need it, but I want to emphasize, this school seriously treat them like graduate students. They're not undergraduate students. And so they are expected to have discipline and organization and commitment to every night spending 3 or 4 hours at minimum with this curriculum, engaging the curriculum so they're prepared the next day. And just saying it, it seems easy. But when they go to do it, they realize that it's exhausting. And I appreciate that. It is exhausting, as it should be, because the first 2 years of medical school are, they're difficult. It's hard work. If those are the best time of your life, then you really need to go and get a life. That's not really a lot of fun. So that's essentially a summary of these 2 years. We put a lot of pressure on them. We expect them to perform. We expect them to behave like a graduate student, but they do have those support services available to them.
Yes, and there is a question, Lenore, if you had the opportunity to have a study group or virtual meetings during the Step 1 prep.
I didn't personally. I have friends. One of my best friends is in PA school, and She actually, like when she was doing her OB rotation, I was like, okay, I'll study OB today. And we just studied together. And her fiance just took step 2 actually. So sometimes he would come study with us and I could ask him questions. But no, not really. Just my friends that I know of who know similar things.
Great. Okay, is there any more chatting that we would like to do about the USMLE prep or about the ACSOM curriculum or anything? Or I can kind of...
We can bring it, we can wrap it up.
Okay, wonderful. I just want to, while we have kind of everyone here, and please feel free to continue to put your questions in the chat. I just want to kind of go over, we chatted about all this. It was a really kind of wonderful, without a presentation, you still all hit the perfect points that we wanted to convey to our audience, which is awesome. I just want to remind folks that if you want to, emulate Lenore or meet Dr. Ahmadi in person, you're closer than you think. So our applications for our January class and our August class are open, and we are doing interviews on a rolling basis for our students. We have no application fee. There are scholarships available for all of our students, and they are assessed at the time of your applications. You don't have to, do a separate application at that time. Easy uploads to make it easy for you through the AMCAS, the AACOMAS, and the OMSAS, and the TMGSAS. Our applications require, if you submit any of those easy uploads, you don't need to send us your transcripts or a personal statement, but we do still require a resume and letters of reference. One professional and one academic. Those can come a little bit after your application because we do understand that faculty can take a little bit of time to get those together for you, and we don't want that to hold you up. If you are not submitting an AMCAS or an OMSAS, we will require all undergraduate and postgraduate transcripts, as well as a copy of your MCAT score, just for proof of what you got in each band, a personal statement, resume, and letters of recommendation. So it is an easy kind of application process that you can do online, which the link will come up at the end, but it's ACSOM/apply now. Then once we move you through kind of the assessment, the pre-assessment, you book your admissions interview, you meet with our wonderful admissions committee, as well as our anatomy professor, Dr. Abiola, and our committee. Then you await your admissions decision, you accept your offer, you pay your seat deposit to secure your enrollment, and then you prepare for day 1 of medical school, day 1 of the first step towards becoming a physician, which is really exciting. And we are back to, this is the kind of link if you'd like to schedule a chat with any of our admissions advisors. There are 3 of us. In the US, we have Mason and Mika, who are wonderful admissions advisors. And then in Canada, you have myself. But again, we can all speak to different areas. So if you really want to get in and meet with any of us tomorrow, for example, just book whoever's available. But we do have our own specialties and regions, and you can do that here. You can apply at acsom.edu.dm/apply now. Please book with us. We love chatting with students and telling you more about, how ACSOM can be the right fit for you. And then I will just kind of toss it back and open it up for our Q&A. So I'll let Lenore and we chat a little bit more. Philip asked how much the seat deposit is. It's $100. And that just secures your enrollment. It tells us that you're interested in attending ACSOM, and it is refundable if you do get into an American or a Canadian medical school. Lots of great compliments for Lenore and how inspiring you are, and
thank you.
Good luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
And we do have someone in the chat who wants to know what the pass rate for this year's students writing the USMLE Step 1 was. So, Dr. Ahmadi, if you have that information, I know you'd be the best to ask.
We have our first cohort is not done yet, so I'm going to wait to give the pass rate out because some are still taking it. Some have the 2 have taken it and passed it. We're haven't even started our first cohort's clinical yet. So I will come out and with that number probably in about 3 to 4 weeks we will announce it. And yes, I'm hoping that it will be high, if not 100, close to it. It should be high up there. I'm waiting to see what happens to people's results that come in, and then we will have probably one whole session on with the a group of students who have taken USMLE and the students on campus. We are planning to have a session so that our students can ask their colleagues who have taken the step what worked for them, what didn't work for them, those who passed, how come, what worked best for them to pass, those who didn't pass, what really went wrong. Remember, we are right now, I could give you some percentages, but it could really be dishonest because this is a very small cohort. We are having the entire academic year when it comes to an end. We have had a group of 10 students to announce for their step one, and and of course we have suddenly received the attention of the community, and we are growing rapidly. We have a class of 50, of course, that we just sat this July. So we certainly have more realistic numbers coming up. But this small group, I will be giving the percentage pass rate to our accreditors as well as to the greater community as soon as everybody is done.
That makes perfect sense. Um, do we have? Do you have to complete a comp exam before taking step one?
You do, and you have to do more than once if the first performance is not very good. But remember, we don't stop you from taking step one. We don't fail you. It's part of your preparation, and we want to coach you. We believe that your first 2 years have prepared you to sit and pass the step one. We're not worried about that. So, unlike a lot of other Caribbean schools, and we are not a Caribbean school really. We run this just like the U.S. Medical schools. It's a prep exam. It's an exam that helps you understand your weaknesses and your strengths. But Lenora can tell you that nobody told her that because you scored 50% or 60% or whatever on the NBME, on the comprehensive NBME, you're not going to be allowed to take the exam.
No,
In
it didn't.
fact, at least with Lenora, I remember her calling me and saying, Dr. Ahmadi, maybe I shouldn't take the exam, maybe I should postpone it. I
That
remember this very, very well because I told her, no, go and take it because you are excellent. You are good. You're ready. Do not trust all of these percentages and numbers that people throw around you. Just go sit in the exam and take it. And I will take the responsibility. and and she did. And after the exam, I believe she even contacted me to say, I hate you because you made me do this, and I think I did horrible. And uh, and she didn't.
That's not what I said. I said I'm traumatized. I'll let you know when I remember how I did.
Okay. So, but my job is to push the students to take the exam and to trust themselves because we are not like these other schools. We have an excellent curriculum. They're very well prepared. They have to trust themselves, have the confidence, and go and sit the exam, and they'll do well. So that's the message. We don't we offer them that comprehensive exam, not once but twice, but it's not that has no punitive measure associated with it whatsoever.
To give some personal details too, because I changed my study technique so late in the game, I honestly was really worried going into the test. And I took a very, very hard form of an NBME practice exam, which is like the ones that was asked about. And I texted Dr. Ahmadi and I said, I got this score, which was just the lowest passing rate. It was barely passing. And I said, I want to postpone the exam. Do you think I should go? And I told my mom I'm not going. And she told me, ask him. And she said, whatever he says, you have to do. And I am 25, but I do still listen to my mom and I do still listen to Dr. Ahmadi. And he told me I need to go. He said, "You've studied so hard," and thank God he was right.
Well, I've learned two things: that Dr. Ahmadi inspires confidence in his students, and that he is very reachable from students, which I think is another unique ACSOM factor. So if there's no other questions in the chat, I would just really like to thank, Dr. Ahmadi, I watched the sunset behind you.
Yes.
I'd like to thank you both for your time. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat for everyone. So if you do have any questions, if you do want to continue this conversation, please feel free to reach out. Much like Dr. Ahmadi, I am very reachable. So you can call me, text me, email me, and I'll be there for you. Dr. Ahmadi, I want to thank you for your time tonight. It's always a pleasure getting to listen to chat about ACSOM and our curriculum. Your passion for the students really comes through. And Lenore, congratulations on your USMLE success, and on good luck with starting your clerkship.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you for everyone watching for your time, and please stay in touch. We look forward to welcoming you to Dominica. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.